Howdy folks, today we're looking at the Legend of Kamui number 28 from 1988 Eclipse and Viz. Of course, leave it to the Americans to make a hash out of a perfectly straightforward reprint project. Despite being published under the banner of the Legend of Kamui, Eclipse didn't actually start at the beginning of the series. Famously, the original run of Kamui Den, which ran from 1964 to 71, took a rather circuitous approach to unfolding a very long story, with the namesake character not even appearing until almost 200 pages of establishing context, which includes extended sequences of poor farmers and wild animals struggling to wrest a living from an oft unforgiving environment. When it came time for America to get the story as seen here, they jumped ahead to the first sequel, Kamui Den, which ran parallel to the original from 1965 to 67. It makes sense at a glance why they did that, even if it sounds like a mess on paper. The rationale for reprinting the series in the first place was precisely because there was a market opening for this specific story, created by the success of the translated Lone Wolf and Cub, which itself had only ever found purchase due to the advocacy of Frank Miller at the moment of his greatest influence over the American direct market. Although Kamui was an important stepping stone on the way to Lone Wolf and Cub, the earliest chapters of Kamui Den look completely different than the later sequences of Kamui Gaiden seen here. That's because these passages of Kamui Gaiden were drawn by the man who would go on to draw Lone Wolf and Cub, Goseki Kojima, one of Shirato Sanpei's assistants through the period. Beginning with Shirato's rugged and empathic naturalism as his template, Kojima found success immediately following the end of Kamui Gaiden, beginning in 67 with the launch of Dojinki, his first work under his own name. As with much of his early work, it's never been officially published in English, and to the best of my knowledge, hasn't received a fanlation either. There's still an immense amount of work from the mid-century that hasn't been translated in any capacity. Perhaps there's a conversation to have about the recency bias of Anglophone weebs who didn't grow up with Frank Miller's aesthetic as the starting point of their engagement with Japanese comics. It's undoubtedly for the best that we've expanded our palette for imported material as a nation, but I still wish the market was there for a more expansive archival project for Kojima's early work.